Welcome back everyone to another YouTube video, or if you're new to this channel, welcome. Today we are doing a little bit different type of video, but we are going to go over some basics here. Alright, so if you've been following my channel, and if you haven't, this is my 1989 Foxbody Mustang, and I've owned it for quite literally almost a year now. Well, actually over a year now. And I just wanted to go through and tell you a couple of things that I've learned on the way as a beginner in the Foxbody realm, and what I've come across and what you too can also look for. So the goal of this build, or at least version 1, was to build this car within a $5,000 budget, and that includes purchase price and everything. And for version 1, we almost nailed it right on the head. We came out to $5,205. And you know, this car does exactly what I ask it to and what I expect it to. It goes from A to B reliably. I mean, it's never broke down on me. Comfortable, well, you know, it's a 40-year-old car, but you know what? It's comfortable for what it is. And, you know, it basically check marks everything else I've asked for it to do, besides fuel economy. But that's my own fault. But I just wanted to give you guys some information of what I've learned as a beginner Foxbody owner, or what I've read on the internet. Not really what I've read on the internet, because, you know what, half the stuff I've come up with, I came up with myself, and after the fact, I looked it up, and it turns out a lot of common things that you have to deal with these cars, and what you may or may not expect. So, also, FYI, these things that I'm about to go over does not just apply to, you know, Mustangs, or even this type of Mustang, but it applies to a lot of cars, or most of the cars, especially if you're buying them used, across the board. We're going to go over the first thing. The first thing I'd like to go over is the strut tower frame rail. Alright, so where your strut tower is on your car, the frame rails, they rust out all the time. Alright, so that is something to take into consideration when you're looking at these things. Especially, like, in this case, when I bought this car, it got dark at 5 o'clock. I get out of work at 5 o'clock. So to bring a flashlight and make sure you look at that and see if that is, you know, if there is frame rail rust there. If it's something you're willing to fix, or if it's not, then definitely do not go for it. Okay? But anything is fixable. Also, other common rust problems on this car, alright? So I live in the north, so rust is like one of the biggest things that we have to look for if we want a quote-unquote clean car that won't take that much to fix up. So, in front and behind the rear wheel wells, those are known to rust out pretty bad. Also, where your hatch and your tailgate, that's known to rust as well, alright? So just make sure you take the time to really look the car up and down. Even the floorboards. The floorboards are absolutely known for rusting out as well. But that also applies to any old car, and especially ones that sit for a long period of time. If you watch my previous videos, I have been going through, and we're in the middle of the entire interior restoration on this car. Well, restoration on a budget. And you know what? There's a lot of surface rust, even though there's no way that water from underneath can get up through. But there are ways. So we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So just make sure you look the car over, in front, behind, wheel arches, everything, and check for rust. You know, sometimes, you know, if it's for surface rust, you're fine. But you know, if it's something more than what you want to take care of, maybe it's time to turn around and walk the other way. This is one of the biggest things to know and to possibly look for. This is what they call hidden damage. Alright, so rust you can see, right? 95% of the time you'll be able to see rust problems, all right? But these cars are known, even in stock form, to twist and all this stuff in stock power, and these cars are known for getting thrashed around, burnouts, all right, racing and everything. You have to check this out. It is what we call, or I call, stress cracks or stress tears. All right, so what that means, all right, what I'm talking about is underneath the floorboard. All right, so your main culprits will be your torque boxes. All right, so where your traction bar, I guess we'll call it, meets up to the subframe or the car. Those torque boxes are known for tearing. All right, I'll show you a video here. The floor pan or floorboard underneath the rear seat, like your passenger or your front seats, the rear parts of your seat, that is also known for cracking and tearing. Okay, another place is going to be your trans tunnel. All right, kind of right in the same line. These cars literally try to rip themselves in half. All right, and right underneath the rear seat, in the middle part where like your drive shaft goes through, that is also another place to make sure you look if you can, right? Sometimes you don't have access to it. I didn't find out about my cracks in the floor until after I got it up in the air and I was told about them, right? But the ones that are underneath the rear of the front seat, all right, hopefully that makes sense, you will be able to feel and look and touch or whatever you need to do and find them, all right? While we're inside the interior and talk about structural things as far as the interior, where the front of your seats, there's studs that go up, all right? You put your bolts down, whatever. That little part right there is also known to rust out or crack or whatever, and basically you lose all integrity of your front mounting, all right, front seat mounting points in the front, and they swash around. Now, you can, in this car's case, you can weld a plate and whatever if you're willing to go that far. You have to take all the interior out like I have here and basically go through and fix all these problems. Next, we're going to go over what drives the car, okay? So, the engine, transmission, and rear end of this car, all right? Or whatever car you're willing to buy, right? If you have the time to do a compression test, if you can hear it run, let it run, take it on a test drive, and what you want to do, especially, you know, if you can, is see if the engine smokes, all right? If you smell any burning oil, see if the coolant's all, like, you know, there. See if there's any coolant in your engine oil, anything like that. That kind of tells you, all right, there's something or something that could potentially be wrong with the car, okay? Also, when you go and drive this thing, if you can, listen for the transmission. See how it shifts. Your synchros could be out. Your gears could just be old and worn out. In this car's case, it whines, okay? So, and it whines and it grinds in third gear. Most common synchro to go out in these cars. Next thing you want to look at is your differential. As long as, you know, as well without all these things here. Your diff, see if it clunks. See if it, you know, does anything weird. This car has aftermarket gearing in it, okay? So the gearings are a lot the gears are a lot shorter. It whines a little bit. I gotta go and take the whole rear end apart, or at least the case off, and see and make sure my backlash and all that's good. Alright, so, you know, if you don't want to mess with those things, at least when you see the car, see if you can hear those things and test it out. I knew after my first test drive, okay, these are things I'm going to have to look after. So just take all that into consideration. Is it going to be detrimental? Or is it going to be, is your car going to blow up the next day? These 5 liters are pretty dang stout. Not a high chance of it blowing up on you instantly, but, you never know. The next thing, alright, see if the title is clean, or see if it's, if it's our title or whatnot. If you can, look up the VIN number, see what kind of accident. I can look at this up. I don't know what type of accident it's in, has been in, but I can very much tell you it's definitely a front end accident. Alright, so these cars, a lot of them, people who are around, crash into a tree, no big deal, except for the next person when you're looking for a good car and you don't know. So, see if what type of accident it has been in. If it has been in one, see, a couple telltale signs, or, are there kinks in your core support, or where your fenders bolt up. See if everything's square. If nothing's square, then, it's probably been in an accident, but no big deal. Anything can be fixed. Like I said, they make tubular front ends for these things, alright? The core support's also another thing to look at. People run over things all the time. Just take and, just do a quick sweep. Maybe you can knock a couple bucks off of whatever the top price was, and ultimately get yourself a good base. If you need to tweak it one way or another, like I said, everything can be fixed. Most of everything can be fixed. So the next thing, alright, in many states you can get away with, no emissions. 85% of the time, you're okay. The other 15% of the time, you might not be. Okay, so first thing everybody does, or a lot of the first things, is delete the AC and delete all your smog and emissions, okay, just to add a couple horsepower. So take into consideration, depending on what kind of car you're trying to have or build, emissions may or may not screw you over, okay? So just take that into fact. Cats, headers, things like that, your smog pump, your vapor, whatever, charcoal, whatever. Base whatever you do with your vehicle kind of with that move. And minus the engine, trans, rear end, minus the cosmetic stuff and everything, if you don't buy an insanely perfect car, that doesn't mean you're not gonna love it. I love this car. The form it was, just running and driving and knowing how much work you put into it, or I put into it, or we put into it, it just means everything. So if you're looking for a flashback to the past that you wish you could have been a part of whatever generation, they're just great cars. But like I said, these are just some of the things to expect or what to look for when acquiring these cars. And like I said, if one of those things isn't perfect, remember, it's not the end of the world. It can always be fixed. But anyways, I think that's it for this video. I appreciate you guys listening to my rambling. And yeah, if you like this type of video, I'll make more of these. I got a lot of ideas running through my head. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for liking. Alright, so y'all have a good night. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.